Hi Fam Bam, welcome. It's gonna be Freedom Friday today. I have so much on my heart and on my mind, and I am so overwhelmed by those of you guys that watched my last video about what's been going on with my family, and I just feel like it is absolutely incredible and humbling, and I feel so grateful and inspired, and just I can't even explain the words that I feel for those of you guys that reached out and just shared your love. I can't believe how many people have experienced a similar situation, and my heart goes out to all of you. No matter how long it's been, I understand that the pain is still the same. So thank you guys so much for all your contributions and for just like spreading your love and spreading the message. It means so much to me, and it makes me realize that I probably could believe in humanity a little bit more, and it's definitely restored my faith, and it's just so amazing. So thank you guys so much. In today's video, I want to talk about how to create your dream life and the formula in it. Before I get into that, we're going to do 3 parts to this video. The first part is going to just be a little bit of my story and my experience and why I believe that the creation of your life experience is not only possible, but it's important. And then the second phase is going to be rules, because there are sets of rules or like caveats that go along with this. And then the third phase is how to actually do it. But all of this is important to build this case. So I'm one of those people that don't really like the idea of the law of attraction, but if I were to say that it wasn't true, then I would be lying for myself. So I don't know how the world works, but I believe it can be true for anybody as long as you believe it to be so, or as long as you can see like how it works. And I think that a lot of people get the idea mixed up because they think that it just means you just think about what you want and then it comes. And a lot of people portray this as like just the way that it goes. And for those people who get good at it, it sort of feels that way, but there's definitely a very specific system. But when you do it, it does appear to be like magical. I know that sounds really dumb and really lame for those of us who are practical minded and like to know the science and how to behind it all. But there's been so many things in my life, like just leaving home when I was 12, that I never thought that was possible. But like one of the biggest things was when Brett and I were pregnant with Love. We had just kind of come off of a failed business venture, which we were in a lot of debt for. And Brett was working at a really good job, but he wanted to be at home, and he wanted us to be at home and be able to do something together, but we just didn't know how that was possible considering the situation that we were in. So I told him, when you go to work tomorrow, like when you go to sleep tonight, think about what you want, ask for an answer, and don't think about how. Like that's the hardest thing, is to not try to like control the situation, but just like ask the universe, ask life for an answer, God, the universe, whoever you believe in. And in the morning, if you feel the same way, then quit your job. So he went off to work and he came back, and I was like, so did you quit? And he said, we didn't have to quit. At that time, he was working for a big singer, and a lot of you guys probably know him, but he had announced that he was going on tour for a year. So at the end of the month, there's going to be no more work for a year. So it's like just answered all together. And then around that same time, I can't remember if it was that week or before, but it was like around, like right there. This was before YouTube partnership was open to the public. Monetization wasn't open to the public. Nobody even knew you could do ad rev at this time. So we were one of the first 2,000 YouTube partners that were welcomed or invited into the YouTube program by letter in the mail, and you had to apply. I had no idea that YouTube was actually public, and I had no idea that my videos were going viral. And long story short, we said, okay, let's do it, but we're never going to do this for the money. We're never going to move forward for the money. In YouTube, we never have. In my personal life, in my business, I have, and it's detrimental. And that's like a key that I want to point out in this whole formula, in this whole system, is that if you're chasing the material gains, you might get it, but you're not going to get the result that you want. And at least that's the way that I experienced it. So we held to that and just like grew and grew. And it was what allowed us to be at home with the kids, to create vlogs daily, to blog daily, and to just, take care of Brett's hospital bill. He went through an emergency, very similar to what my sister-in-law is going through, where they just emergency cut. And yeah, so it helped us get through a lot. We were able to go to New Zealand, Australia, do meetups and like build side businesses together. And so it was just an amazing blessing that I never could have ever conceived of or planned for in my entire life. And we were just like in the right mindset, in the right alignment. The other story that I'm going to tell you, which is very quick because I have so many stories like this, was when we moved to Hawaii. First of all, you guys know that we wanted to move to Hawaii. We, at that time, didn't want to spend the money because Brett had just done his surgery and we were just starting to think about what kind of business, and we didn't want to spend the money that we had. And long story short, a friend invited us and they paid for airfare as long as he worked in solar. So getting to Hawaii was another one of those like weird things because we weren't looking for it. We were looking for the next thing to do, but Hawaii had been on our mind before Elavie was even born. But when we got to Hawaii, and this is when Brett kind of stopped disbelieving this system or this process because we had gone through it so many times. But we got to Hawaii and I said, I want to live on the Hamakua coast. I want acreage, I want farmland, I want property, and I want an ocean view. And he goes, that is so expensive. Like if you look at it, like that's not, like we're not gonna do that. Like with this solar job, there's no way we're gonna do that. And long story short, when he quit the solar job, I spent about a month trying to do farmers market, and it wasn't my thing, but in that farmers market, I met so many people. And one of the people we befriended was a guy who owned a vacation home on the Hamakua coast, which is the farmlands that you guys saw. And he was just like random. We weren't looking. We were like happy where we were living. And he just randomly told us, if you guys ever are looking for another place to stay or you like it and want to live up here, like I need house sitters. All I need you to do is mow the lawn and just make sure the property's good, like it's not being infested by bugs or mice, and you guys can stay out here. And that's how we landed that property. That's how we landed that deal. And it was just like out of nowhere. And when we got it, I told Brett, see, I told you this is what I wanted, because when he had said that it was so expensive, I said, but I want to feel like I'm not paying for it. Like in a way, I want to feel like it's not so expensive. Like I kind of want to feel like it's free. And that was like the situation that we came into. So I went to this whole story time because I want you guys to kind of experience with me, and you can see it looking back because the proof is there in the videos that this stuff really happens. And it's not stuff that you can plan for. It's not stuff you can force. It's not stuff that you can be strategic about and like make it happen. We say make it happen, and it's a balance of taking action, but also being in complete alignment and being insightful. So there are three main rules that I notice that are important in the process. The first rule is it can't be all like passive, like happy, this is what I want. Like you can't be clinging to the specific results. So you can't be like, well, it will be perfect if I graduate on this date and then I get this job that's going to make me exactly this kind of money. Like, of course you can envision those things, but you have to kind of trust the process that life or God or the universe lays out for you, because certain things might have to occur that you don't like or you don't even really know about. Like we don't really know why life allowed our niece to pass away during my sister-in-law's birth, but what we all firmly agree on is that there is a positive reason for it, and there are positive gifts within that situation. And it's hard still, but like it is the story that you assign to it, but it's more than just that. Like in my experience, if you trust and believe that, it is exactly what life has in store for you. So you can't be attached to the particular story that goes along with how this process evolves. The second thing is you can't be attached to the time, because the first step or the first part of the formula has to do a lot with how you feel. So if you're like stuck in time, time is kind of an illusion. Like if you look at physics, time is this amazing variable that we don't really completely understand, but we experience it as it's linear. But the universe in its entirety does not experience time linearly the way that we do as human beings on this planet. Time is a space fabric. Time is so many other things. There are loops in time and areas where it's really hard to describe, but when you understand that time isn't linear, then you understand that everything is happening kind of all at once. And in that understanding, you don't really need to have any time constraints. And moreover, it's not about the time constraint as much as it is about what it does in your ability to line up with what it is that you're looking for. Number 3 is when you focus on the outcome, you really, really, really have to focus on the feeling. So rather than saying, I wish I was a millionaire, I wish I was a millionaire, I want a big house, I want a nice car. Of course you want to, you can use those perspectives to envision it because that's what generates that feeling. But the feeling is what's more important than the outcome. So the reason is because ultimately the things that we think we want in life, it's going to generate a particular emotion or a particular experience for us. So if we can get in line with that experience, oftentimes life generates something way more than we expected. Like, I never thought I was going to be minimalist. I thought I was going to be so materialistic, and I thought I was going to have all the fancy things, and that's what was going to make me happy. But like, all of that shifted because I was open to the end result, and I trusted that life knew better than me. God knows better than me. So I trust that if I ask, like, this is what I want, ultimate peace, ultimate happiness, ultimate abundance, so I can connect and share with the world to fulfill a purpose and to like feel complete in life, like that is ultimately what I want. And there are certain things that I can attach to that, thinking like that's what's gonna feel good. Like imagining being at an event with like tens of thousands of you guys and we're all just like vibing positively would be like my dream come true, but I don't know. And so I'm open to it, but I'm not attached to it. So let's go into the how, because there's a very specific how. The first one is you have to have vision. So you have to be able to envision, like we just talked about, those feelings and specific events. Those events can change, but I feel that events are very helpful in staying motivated and staying focused on the feeling and just staying excited about it all. Number 2 is attitude. And most highest level, like performing attitude that I could think of is gratitude, which is why we're the Grateful Gordons. If you think about how gratitude works, like in 2 ways, you can probably think of a situation where you expected something to happen. It wasn't necessary, like let's say maybe it was your birthday and everybody said you were gonna get this specific gift or whatever. I'm just making this up. But it didn't happen, and even though it wasn't a big deal to you, you're kind of like, oh, bummed out, or like, why didn't it happen? Or on the opposite end, like if you didn't expect anything at all, you didn't even expect anybody to remember your birthday, and then all of a sudden somebody shows up to surprise you for lunch, it just feels so amazing, like this massive gift, like wow, like this is so awesome, and you feel so good. So like to be able to change your perspective into the attitude of gratitude gifts you instantaneously from perspective alone, but then outward it actually affects like the energy that you put towards people and what you receive back. So think about a person that you did all these nice things for, you went above and beyond to help them, and then they turned and acted entitled, or they didn't seem grateful for it and they kept asking for more. How much do you feel like giving more to that person? Probably not a lot. At least in my experience, those people I'm like, okay, we're done. Like you're cut off. But like there's certain people who don't expect it, and you do like the tiniest thing that you don't even feel like deserves a thank you, and they're just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, like thank you so much, like, and they're so authentically like lit up about it, and you just like feel so good on the inside and feel like giving more to that person. So like now it's not just gratitude in your perspective, but it's that gratitude affects how other people turn towards you. And I believe it goes even greater than that, because energetically, everything is energy and we all vibe the same, but like energy attracts like energy. And you see this in terms of science when it comes to osmosis, when it comes to inertia, like, you know, what stays in motion wants to stay in motion. And all these laws of science and physics you can see coincides with the notion that like attracts like magnets. So an example of this is like when you walk into a room and it's just like bad vibes, right? Like bad juju. And you're like in a good vibe and you're like, I gotta get out of here. Like this does not feel good, right? Or there's like certain people that seem to be like on the same page and they're like feeling good and awesome. And you're like just drawn to them. Like, I like these people, it feels good. And I just like wanna be around these vibes. So number 2, attitude, I guess, energy, you know, like the way that you feel and what you're putting out, you get what you give, is probably the biggest, most important step of this whole thing. If you can forget everything that I've said in this video and just apply this one principle, your life will change in ways like you never believe. It's amazing. And if you have experienced this in your life, I would love for you guys to share with the community, share with me your amazing stories, because it just makes me feel good and it just moves that energetic karma forward. So that's number 2, but most important, I would say, of this whole process. The third thing is to look for that inspiration and to act. So you could sit all day and like envision and have gratitude, but if you're not like out there connecting with life and like being a part of it, then we don't give life the opportunity to give us opportunities. So to go out there and to interact, like I was at the farmer's market, we were like just connecting with people totally on like a gratitude basis, and like, you know, that's what drew these situations in there. So like when you're inspired, act on it. It doesn't always seem logical. Like it didn't seem logical to like sign up for a YouTube partnership and to have that be like the most amazing blessing our family's ever had. I didn't even know, we didn't even expect it. Like we just thought we were gonna like build another business together and make this happen, and that's what happened. So like being open to everything, but not open in a sense like I gotta have it. Like I think some people like play the lotto or whatever and they're like, oh, I wanna win, like I'm gonna do this, like I have to do this. Like it shouldn't feel like forced like that. It should feel really good and organic, and you should feel like inspired and excited to do it. Like it should feel easy when you follow that flow, and the result just happens organically. Like it's not hard. If it feels hard, then that for me is typically a sign that I'm being controlling and that I'm not in alignment energetically. So the fourth thing is probably the hardest thing to do, and it's just to know. This taps back to making sure that you're in energetic alignment, and it's the hardest thing to do. But it's like one of those things where it can be a bad cycle, or like you know, vicious, like a downward vicious cycle, because you could be like doing all of this perfect and it could be a month or 6 months or a year, and then you get to this point where you're like, this is not working. Like I'm doing everything perfect, nothing is happening. Honestly, if you're in the attitude of gratitude and you've got good vibes, like everything feels like it's working out for you, like instantly. Even if you're not getting what you want, like there's all this extra stuff that kind of like encourages you on. So if you're like feeling fed up, like it's not working and it's been a long time, it probably means that you are not in like the aligned vibe in the first place. Because when I'm in an aligned vibe, I can never get to this point of feeling like it's taking forever and it's not working. And the last thing is to just repeat the cycle. So like if it does seem like it's taking a while, like I'll go and envision something else or like something different or something more. I'll do a lot of gratitude lists and just like trying to hype up my energy and keep it just like overwhelming, positive and connecting and loving and just appreciative and abundant. And I try to see everything as a gift, and I try to receive everything as a gift. I want to like say and think about the things that I want. And even if it might not be true, like maybe this guy was meaning to be rude and he like smiles at me sarcastic, and I might just be like, oh, like he's trying to make himself feel better. He's like enjoying the moment sarcastically, you know, but like to not take the negative stuff personal, because when you take it and you keep it, you actually take on more burden than what is fair to you. It affects you more than just like how you're feeling in the moment. It affects you because it wastes your time. It affects you because it knocks you off of your alignment. So it's like really important not only to cultivate the space in your mind and in your, you know, feelings and your thought process, but also in your environments and the people that you hang around. This is all very difficult to do if you're in toxic spaces and surrounded by toxic people. So yeah, it's seemingly very easy, but in my experience, you have to be very meticulous. And to be meticulous in things like this, you have to be inspired to grow, and just like inspired to be humbled and to be patient and to realize that you have the power to create and you deserve to create, but there's also a greater power and wisdom and innate feeling or consciousness within you that you get to work with. And that is ultimately what's humbling, because at the end of the day, when things happen, whether it was like the peaceful birth of Elavie or like, you know, YouTube blowing up for us, it doesn't feel like it was me. Like I give the power and the gratitude to life or to God. Like it's not, all I did was just like get in line for it and just let it happen. And that's why a lot of times people just say, just think about it and it's gonna happen. But this is very specifically like the secret, like the specific way, coming firsthand from somebody who has done this tons and tons of times over and over again. It works for me. And I know it works for a lot of people out there, but I hope that it's helpful and it clarifies with you exactly how to make it work, because I really think that creating a life worth living is important and valuable, not only for yourself and your life experience, but for us and how we can spread that joy and that positivity and love towards one another. And I'm just still so like full, like my heart feels full for all of the love and support that you guys have given us. Like that in itself, like I just never thought that would happen, you know, in this situation. I don't know what inside of me thought I'm going to start a crowdfunding campaign for them. I'm not a crowdfunding type person. I don't typically like to ask for things. I like to offer things. I don't like to ask for things like, hey, help me. But like I was just feeling so bad, and after a couple days I was like still had this like urge, like start a crowdfunding campaign. I'm like, fine, I'll do it. And it was kind of embarrassing, to be honest, like to just put that all out there. I don't know why. I don't know why it feels that way, but it does feel vulnerable and sensitive. Yeah, because I guess you're just worried that somebody will be insensitive. Or maybe that you're afraid of judgment, like what people will think of you. But like I just told myself, that's not, those things don't serve us. Like people are going to judge us no matter what. Some people are not going to agree with it. Like we can't please everybody, and that's just how life is. So if you do you and you do it with love and you stay in alignment, you're bound to get more love and alignment. And you guys are just awesome. Like I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you so much for being here and being a part of this. And I know this video is long running, but I really hope you found a lot of value in it, because this particular situation, or this particular, what I'm trying to teach you, this process of creating a life worth living is very personal to me. It is like my greatest secret. If I could leave something for my kids, it would be this video. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here on Freedom Friday. Thank you so much for all your support. During this week, we are all being very positive and seeking for the gifts and for gratitude within all of it. So I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you guys back here for Simplified Saturday. Ciao for now.